morning, gorgeous. Lovely to be out here with you. I don't know if I'll be able to stay out here with you the whole 20 minutes. There's showers coming across, but it's so nice to be outside, and I'm very grateful for the rain because it has been pretty dry. So we've had little bits of rain for the last few days. The garden is saying thank you, and so am I. So let me show you how it is today. And I got this beautiful surprise when I went up the top of the hill. Morning, Robin. Morning, beautiful beings. Morning, Mike. Because there was this, if you haven't seen the photographs, please do go and look because they're amazing. I was just, wow. This is the circle garden, right? It's most obviously a circle when it's not in flower. And, you know, we were in front of the lemon tree before. Now we're above the lemon tree. Looking a bit scruffy. Nikki, it's you. Good morning, sweetie. And there's the garden. Looking kind of, you know, overcast and summery, but, you know, dry. And take a good look at the ghost plant because we're planning, unless it rains all weekend, we're planning to chop it all down. You have to do that every year because you can see it's getting long and leggy and the foliage is getting yellow at the bottom. So that's an important part of this plant's life cycle. Otherwise it just gets leggy and miserable and not healthy at all. So there is a beauty about this. Let's have some focus, please. Here you go. You can see the raindrops. You can see how it all moves and the wind. Yeah, autocorrect is great at getting my name wrong, huh? Thank you for noticing. Believe me, there are about 10 different versions of my name that people use depending upon how they've heard it and whether they're looking. It's really interesting. So here we are. Here's the magnolia, which finally after, 20 years is looking like a small tree. It's taken a very long time to get established. But there it is, and it's wonderful. And here's the Love in the Mist. Good morning, Farah. Love in the Mist, which is now all pods. And I think that's fabulous. There's so much of it. There's never going to be a shortage of Love in the Mist. And we've got stuff growing up here. The century plants, which we probably won't see that well because of the tree in front of them, but they're fabulous. And they will eventually throw up huge flower spikes that are like, 3-4 metres tall, so 10 to 12 feet. For those of you who don't do metres, big things, and then they die. But not before they've made thousands, if not millions of babies, which you have to pick up and not have them sprout, because otherwise you have nothing else. So there's the few late flowers on the hebe and the ginkgo, which is clearly saying, man, it's been dry, but there it is. It's very drought resistant. And the hydrangeas. It's just nice to be outside with you. Oh, look at that. The colours are glorious. So, even I nearly lost this hydrangea. See, it got a bit dry. That's because it hasn't been here for long. It's a smaller one. And also, see, this is a smaller one, but it's more established, and so it hasn't suffered as much. I had to water this one. I watered them all, but that one more, because it was water, it'll lose it. Let's just enjoy the detail of these fabulous flowers as they age. I love that. Starts out really blue and does different things as it goes. All right, let me get to the subject. What is the subject? The subject is people who don't get you. And this thought came out of a comment that one of you made about it being difficult to open your heart and stay conscious and, when all the people around you aren't like that. And it's true. It is difficult. It requires the strongest kind of character and self-regulation and determination and moment to moment sometimes choices to choose who you're being when the people around you are being something really different. And I think that's about all I'm going to say about it, because I thought about talking about that and I thought, Maddie, you've got no freaking way you can talk about that because you're just not in that situation. And I don't really know that I've ever been in that situation in a real extreme, and I don't like to talk about things as philosophy or ideas. I like to talk about things as experience, Yeah, I've had a working situation where things were difficult, but I was so unconscious that I can't really make comparisons, because I was unconscious. I didn't have any tools back then. So I decided not to talk about that. I decided to talk about the sort of step back from that, which is, here I am, I know my truth. These people that are with me, that, you might be stuck in a bubble with family or whatever, or flatmates or whatever, who don't get you and you can't move. I mean, that's not uncommon at the moment. For whatever reason, you have to deal with people who don't understand you, who don't think about things the way that you do, who have different political points of view, who have different ideas about, important things like health issues, things that we get polarised about, abortion, religion, politics, all, those kinds of things, right? People who don't get you, just making it clear. People who don't understand that you experience things beyond what we can see and touch, and smell and taste and hear, that you experience energy, that you get intuition, that you just know things. People who don't get you like that. That's the situation I want to talk about today. And, oh my God, I've experienced this plenty. And we've all gone through the experience of having an experience or discovering some information or teaching or something that just really lit us up. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you want to tell the world, you want everybody to know. Andrew, good morning. You want them to get it too. And so you start to share and you start to talk and you start to explain, and some people go, and some people go, and some people go, yeah, and that's fine. But if people who are close to you don't get it, you can end up getting very polarised. And then, you can go several ways probably, but the two I'm thinking of, you can get more evangelical, really, and oh my God, I've so done this so often, but this is just great, it'll change your life, or you can end up shutting it up inside yourself and not talking about it, but you feel a loss and you feel a pain because the thing that's most precious to you, you can't share with people that are precious to you, or people that you think, oh my God, I just wish they get this. So that situation is also difficult because it's like you can't speak your truth. And you learn eventually that it's better to shut up than to push things in people's faces. Oh God, how long did it take me to do that? Really, I don't want to, I'm somebody else now. Years, if not decades, I don't know how long it took me to work that out. I finally started to understand, and I understand much more deeply now, that each person is on their own path. And by that, we had a really profound discussion about this in the Heartfield earlier this week. If I, as a soul, Linda, good morning. If I, as an eternal being, without beginning and without end, and this is just what is true for me, right? So now I'm speaking my truth, and it's all right if you don't agree. This is just how I experience it. If I, as a limitless, unfettered, infinite being that has existed throughout space and time and done everything and been everything, did you know everything? The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the debased, the divine, everything. And I chose at that level of myself, at soul, at source, at, the level of infinity, greater mind, whatever, intelligent love, loving intelligence, if I, as that, chose to come here and have the experience I'm currently having with all of the other people who are the same as me and have made that kind of choice at that kind of level, which we forget when we come in, okay, then I don't actually need to fix anything about anyone, because, and this is hard to explain, I don't actually think I'd go here today when I started talking about this. there is nothing to fix, because that soul at the most deep level, and they may be consciously saying to you, oh, my life is awful, I'm so desperate to get better, this is painful, this is, but that soul is at the deepest level of themselves, unawares, not understanding, particularly when it's painful, choosing to have that experience. And in the whole of eternity, and in being one with everything and understanding everything and all of that, they're experiencing bliss, they're experiencing wholeness and oneness out in source, out in unity, and here we choose to experience other things. And you might think, I must have been mad. But that's all I'm going to say. So that's kind of my philosophical and experiential ground base that I stand on in talking about this. And I forget it too, because I get fooled by what I perceive in people and, the experiences they're having, and I wish they'd made that choice differently and they'd done that thing differently and I wish they listened to me or whatever. It's like, no, that soul is right now in this moment continuing to choose that experience until they really choose something else. And it's fine. Because in the whole of eternity, they've experienced everything, they're going to experience everything, and they're choosing to experience everything. Because you know what? If you're in bliss and you're happy all the time, after a while, you're not in bliss and happy anymore, because it's all the same. We experience things by contrast. And so, and I'm experiencing this truly myself, because I'm having some significant breakthroughs inside myself. And the contrast of the breakthrough wouldn't be there without the challenge. Oh my God, I get it, that's amazing, that's healing, whatever it is, wouldn't be there without the challenge that I've had to move through to get there. So, for me, it's and you're right, it's about accepting and being without judgment and all that, but this is the basis that I stand on when I start to not accept, when I start to not judge, when I start to think, oh, feck, they really, no, they get to choose, right? So that means that however I am reacting or responding to somebody and their choices in my life, if I can remember that while I still want to strangle them, ultimately it means that they're not my problem. What I do have to do is decide who I am and how I'm going to show up lovingly in my truth in that moment. That's the only thing that I can do. If I'm a master, if I'm living truth, if I'm being an example of the truth, and I can't choose for other people and I can't control them, I might as well let go and get really dedicated to living my truth. And that doesn't mean being in conflict and polarity with people who, that if you were really overt about your truth are just going to dump on you. It means being really wise. Oh, look at me. Itchy face. Not really. I just scratched and here it is. My skin's gone all red on me. It'll go away. It's such a deep thing to realise that the soul is choosing what they're souling and what they're choosing, and it'll choose something else. And yet there isn't any need for conflict, although sometimes it's very difficult to avoid because the people who are unconscious don't get that, and they do conflict and they blame their experiences on you and they pour stuff on you that's actually their stuff, so they're unconscious and you're conscious of it. And how do you navigate that? And there isn't a stock standard answer, but as an enlightened being, Julian, good morning, I can see a little face up there. As the enlightened being that you must be in the whole of eternity, trust me, you've been an enlightened being and an avatar and a master many, many, many times. So can you start to imagine yourself as that and consider and speculate and think and feel and explore, okay, if I know that I have the choice in this moment, regardless of what everybody else is trying to put on me and all of that, morning, Jen! Then how do I show up as the most loving and compassionate, powerful expression of who I want to be right now? And that puts the power squarely back in your corner. Even when you're surrounded by unconscious crazy people who don't get you and, make life difficult, make no mistake, I get it. Some of you face stuff I can't imagine. But the point is you're there, right? So you don't want to give your power away to your circumstances and say, well, because of this and that person, tra-la-la, I'm going to be like this and I have no control and I can't make a different choice. No, I won't do that. I have my own things that I could use as an excuse to be like that too. As the master, ask myself the question, if I really am an eternal infinite being, and I've been a master millions of times, and I've been the devil a million times. I've done it all, right? Somewhere, that information, that data about who and how it is to be that master and show up lovingly in this difficult situation. And I don't mean lovingly as a doormat. I mean lovingly in power and in truth and in wholeness, because that's actually what people want. They just think they have to fight and claw and beat people up to get it. How am I going to show up as truth, compassion for myself, love for myself, which automatically means compassion and love for others in this situation? And that is a deep question. You really have to put some new things together to think, okay. And remember, you can't control how people are going to react. Yeah, we can only share our experiences. And the thing that I discovered, Vera, is that I learned eventually that if I started to talk about things that were of interest to me and I saw people's eyes start to glaze over, I knew that what I was sharing wasn't being received, so I would just stop. I just started to get more tuned in to whether other people were actually receiving what I was offering, and if they weren't, forget it. And increasingly, I'm just, I choose to be with my tribe and people who are interested in what I have to say and where I'm interested in what they have to say. I get to make that choice now because I'm clear about it. So when you make that choice, you cannot control how the other people who are used to you showing up as however you've been used to showing up will react. They might actually like it or they might not. But given that they don't get you anyway, you haven't got a hell of a lot to lose. And in saying that, again, I don't mean just say, oh, to hell with it, I'm going to, be conflicting and difficult and screw them. It's not about that, because you may not have the ability to say, stuff you, I'm out of here. So you still have to navigate that. You absolutely still have to navigate the chaos. You're not the only friend I have who is living in chaos. It never stops swirling. But what I notice is that both of you are becoming masters of remaining still within that crazy. That crazy that you can't even walk away from, but you're mastering it anyway. And that's what I mean. We don't have the choice sometimes in 3D, in physicality, to change our environment. But we always have some kind of choice to change the inner environment of who we're being and how we're being in each moment. We can walk away internally and somehow find a way to do that that doesn't mean we've lost ourselves. Bernadette, good morning, lovely. It's challenging, and I can't admit, I'm not talking about this from real experience, but I am talking about it from observed experience of seeing amazing people living incredible lives, and they're overcoming these crazy circumstances, and I see that those circumstances become like the crucible. And the gold is being refined and the scum comes up and they skim it off, they face themselves, they overcome themselves. It's messy, it's painful, it's ugly, it's dirty, but they know that on the other side of those limited emotions and knee-jerk reactions and unconscious programs that are surfacing, and oh my God, I know what that's like in the last week, there's gold. And they're dedicated to that. And the freedom you find in yourself when it doesn't matter. I know this sounds insane, when it doesn't matter what is going on outside of you or even inside you, and you feel peace. It's quite mind-blowing. I literally had that happen yesterday. Something really profound that I don't really know how to describe happened in my meditation. And before I was really very chaotic. Afterwards, I was different. And what I noticed, not immediately, was, oh, where's my fear? I could go looking for it, but it's kind of not there. I wonder if this is just for today or if it's going to last. Because, either way's all right. Apparently it's going to last. I just can't find my fear. And I'm not going to tell you a story about what happened. Maybe I'll do that next week. Who knows? Too long. But the point being, I never imagined that was possible. To have no evidence that anything inside me or outside me has particularly changed. And yet there's this uncanny but beautiful peace. And then there's not even a pressure cooker. It's insane. So, I don't get it. I can't really explain this. Apparently it is the peace that passes understanding. I suspect it's come with a physical upgrade. But I know I feel different. So, yeah. So that's that. And so I can think about things that a week ago would be fearful, and now I just think about them and, well, it's a thing. In fact, it's not even a thing. It's like, instead of being in front of my face, it's over there on the hill. Which is just really unusual and strange for me. I can't explain it any more than that. No doubt I'll have more insight on this as I go along. So it is possible to be that peaceful in the middle of circumstances that a week ago you found fearful. Really is. I can tell you from my own experience. So I guess that's where I'm going to leave you. It's Friday. Look at that. My forehead is just saying hello today. It's Friday. Look out for resonant replays over the weekend. And I will see you with bells on Monday. And please, if you have questions or pain points, I would love you to write them down, because the best lives always happen when they're in response to something you want to know. Big love. I'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.